Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range. All right, let's do this. This is for Clement Otis. All right, shout out to our major sponsor, Indosol. Those guys, they are making footwear from recycled motor vehicle tires, and to date, they have prevented almost 100,000 tires from going into landfill or being burnt. They are a B Corp certified company, which is an ethical manufacturing certification created by the brand and sustainability advocates, Patagonia. Indosol shoes, they just look sick. And I just got myself a new pair of the leaf green crossover slides. Anyway, if you use code THT at checkout, you'll get a 15% discount. And they have distributors all over the world, so you'll get your shoes very fast. Now, I want to just go back to the Stephen Ellis campaign, the GoFundMe. We love Stephen Ellis. He is a prolific skateboarder, and he's also a father. But the thing about Stephen is he's a double leg amputee, and he's possibly one of the most inspirational humans I've ever met. Now, he needs a car that can be specifically modified for his needs so he can drive his kids around. And if you want to literally do something good in the world, take the time to throw in a few bucks, get your credit card out, punch those numbers in. Don't forget the little number on the back. And, just give something. So the GoFundMe is called Help Stephen Ellis Get a Car, and it's up to $12,500 of the $20,000 required. So please get on it and help that guy. He's a legend. Love you, mate. All right, let's do this.
I'm having a good time.
You are?
Yeah.
I can tell.
And we are rolling too.
Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Today's guest is Lance Billingsley. Lance is back on the show, and previously he joined me on episode 11. That's over 70 episodes ago. And as I read this, he's got his shirt off in his room, in his house, eating corn chips or something and flexing his muscles. Lance, when he was on the show, Lance discussed his travels through South America, his perspectives on education, that time a gun got pulled on him in Argentina, growing up in Ventura, California, surfing all over the world, and especially in Indonesia and Bali, where he currently lives and works. Lance is an educator at a unique private international school, which is located in a Bali Jungle. He's also an avid surfer, and this year he might have caught one of the waves of his life on one of the swells of the year at the notorious Langundri Bay on the Island of Nias. Now, I consider Lance a dear friend and a mate, if you will. Even though he's Californian, he loves Australia and he loves Australian wildlife, as signified by the tattoo of a koala on his chest. And that's a true story. And I want to hear that story again, Lance. It just never gets old. Anyway, it's safe to say that a lot has happened in both our lives, not to mention the whole world in the last 12 months. And it just felt like a good time to have a catch up with a good mate. So today, Lance is with me to check in live from his home in Canggu, Bali, to share his journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Lance Billingsley, welcome back.
What's up, bro? It's so good to see you, dude. How are you? It's great to be here. I'm all pumped up, dude.
Thanks,
I'm just trying to avoid the koala on the chest thing. If you can just move on, that'd be sweet.
No, seriously. People need to hear that.
No, we just had a couple tins, mate, and I was in Australia and we got a tattoo. My buddy had a whale tattooed on his upper thigh, and then later on in a bar he was taking off his pants, I was taking off my shirt, and we were scaring people away. It was a really bad idea. So I got it covered up with a small tattoo around it. Not really that small, but it's unfortunate you noticed that. You weren't supposed to notice.
Were you drunk?
Just a little bit in my book, yeah.
So when you got the tattoo, you were drunk?
Yeah, something like that.
Are they allowed to give you tattoos when you're drunk?
They're not supposed to, yeah, but she didn't know that. But she probably knew. Come on. She shouldn't have let me get it in the first place, but she said it was cute. She thought the idea was cute. It was a stuffed animal in our car. We were on a big road trip. It was for a buddy's wedding. We flew over for him, and it was the stuffed animal in the van, and I just brought it out. I was like, I'm getting this. I love this trip. Like, everything about you. I love you guys. I'm getting this tattooed on my chest. First tattoo. It was the only fucking tattoo I had on my chest. And at some point, I think like a year later, some guy down the beach, some guy, really serious guy, called me out. He's like, dude, you have a tattoo of a koala on your chest? And I was like, oh, man, yeah, I do. So then I just got it. I didn't get it covered up, actually. I just surrounded it with other stuff so you can't really see it.
Yeah, because the tattoos around it are kind of gnarly, and then like they're really nice tattoos, like kind of look serious, a little bit like tough guy, and then you got this cute cuddly koala tattoo.
All I had was the cute little koala before. That was all I had previously. So.
Wow, that is cute.
I let my girlfriend at the time name it too. That was when I came home. I was like, "You can name this." It was everyone just laughed at me. It was a joke.
What'd she call it?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't have that name anymore. That name shall not be repeated.
Oh, okay. When I first met you, actually, before we actually really knew each other, we were in the surf and you had your shirt off. And I noticed the koala tattoo, like with all your other gnarly tattoos. And I just had this moment of like, that guy is either like the biggest kook I've ever met or the coolest guy. Like I wasn't sure which way I was going to go.
Yeah, so it's a little blend of the two, probably, you'd say now. A little bit of kook for sure in there.
Dude, no, you're good people, man. I love you like a brother. You know this.
Come right back at you, homie.
Now, listen, man, since last time I had you on the show, you talked about your life growing up in California and, your desire to see the world. And can you just like recount from, growing up in Ventura, California, and then your first like travel experience? I think we talked about South America. Was that your first travel experience?
Yeah, big time living away from home it was. Yeah, I took a job down there, moved down, ended up being there for about a year, working odd jobs and surfing mainly.
Yeah, and then you said you worked as a teacher, correct, in Argentina?
Yeah, and then I worked in like a bar and I taught surf lessons and all that stuff.
Really? So what was your like, did you always have an innate desire to move and not stay in the one spot?
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like searching for something else rather than like the stability of home, right? 1 foot in order, 1 foot in chaos. So we got tired of home and all that stability, and it's good to go find something else. So it's probably me trying to seek that out. But I was pretty young too, so I was just like partying and surfing.
But when you say young, like how old?
23 to about 20. Yeah, 23, 24.
You were like, okay, I got to move. Because there's a lot of people that are very content with staying in the one spot for their whole life.
Sometimes I'm envious of them.
Same.
Yeah. It's so simple and straightforward. You are where you are, and that's it. But it's not like that, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Why? Why is that in you? Do you think?
Because of the way I was raised, for sure. I had like the free spirit mom, and we had a cabin up in the forest, and we would always travel around the U.S. and experience new things, and a lot of nature, tons of nature. So I think that's why I'm pretty attracted to surfing too. That's the little bit of connection, I think.
And how old were you when you got into surfing?
13.
Okay, that's pretty young, and like we're not as young as a lot of people, but it's a good age.
Yeah, now it's fucking old now, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, like kids are starting at 5. Like, I mean, I was pushing my daughter into waves. She's 5, just the other day on her stomach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, if she's not on the tour by the time she's 11.
You can take her to a wave pool and just hang on to her on the front of your board like Kelly did with his girlfriend. You just get her tubed.
But with his girlfriend? With his girlfriend?
With his girlfriend, with his former lover.
That's some gossip, Lance. But remember that time you said you were going to get Kelly Slater on my podcast?
I tried really hard, but then I totally choked. I saw him in public. I couldn't do it, man. I had to surf with him this dry season. It was just myself, him, and Josh Moniz, and I couldn't even do it. I was like, dude, I can't be that guy. I can't do it.
What do you mean? To what?
To be, I just wanted to have a chat. I had something I wanted to like ask him or whatever, but I just couldn't do it. It was too nice of a moment, just enjoying the surf. Everyone wants a piece. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I get that. So tell us about surfing with Kelly Slater. Where were you and what were you doing?
He's a frother. He's like you, dude. He's in his 40s and he like catches a million waves.
Yes.
And yeah, super good vibe. He's just catching all the waves and hooting me into waves and all that.
Was he?
Yeah.
Was he sharing waves?
Not really. I mean, come on, he takes a lot, but he would, because it was just three of us at the peak, and it was like onshore, middle of the day, and there was a ton of waves. It was pulsing, really, really fun, like big ramps and stuff. I don't know how to do airs, but which hence why I'm injured at the moment trying them. But it was cool to be in that. Like, just is totally just leveled up. You could just see the progression in a session, and the froth is still so alive in him. He's also probably having like a proper midlife as well, but we don't have to go into that if you don't want.
Well, let's go there. So you're at Lakey Peak, and Kelly Slater turned up, and there's no one there.
Yeah, him and his crew. I mean, he's been over in Bali now for 6 months anyways, bouncing around. He's been on friends' boats and going out to deserts, and he just shows up at all the right moments, I guess.
Like, I've heard a lot of surfers talk about, like, he brings an aura out into the water. Like, did you feel that energy that he brings out?
No, to be honest, no.
No, it's just another ball.
It's just more like kind of watching like MJ do his thing on the court, right? So you get some waves, you get to kind of play in the mix too, and then watching him really just light up and do the thing you grew up watching him do. So that was the special part. But aside from that, in the water, I've surfed with much friendlier, nicer, easier going people. He's totally nice. He's respectful, but there was nothing particularly special there, just to be totally honest.
Did you ever have a situation with him at Lakey Peak? You know how a lot of people split the peak there? And did you have a situation where he was going for the left, you were going for the right, and then at the last minute, you changed your mind and went, go left! And then you caught that right?
Like, why'd you burn me, you dick? That would have been so good. I thought it was cool splitting the peak with him. I should have totally done that. I don't know what I was thinking. Damn it.
Did you split the peak with him?
Yeah. Mark did as well. A few of them. Yeah, we had a couple where we split. I was like watching from the shoulder of him and Mark splitting a peak and just the other buddies. But you know who was a real legend out there was that Josh Moniz guy. But anyways, it was a big crew he's running with, and they're pretty serious dudes. But there's a couple of nice dudes.
Yeah, I think any surfer that just goes surfing during a global pandemic and sort of says, fuck it all, I'm just going to go surfing, I don't know. I kind of feel like they did the pandemic right.
Yeah, but you see, he totally gets like, he takes the bait, man. He takes the trolls that comment on his stuff on like Insta when he posts stories or pictures. People have a dig on him. Like, dude, you shouldn't be traveling because, you know, the carbon footprint and this is a pandemic and you should just stay put and stay indoors. And he takes the bait every time, man. It's so fun to watch the comment section blow up.
So he actually comments back to those people.
Uh-huh.
Do you go through and read all that?
You need to, after this, you got to go look. Yeah, it's good, dude. It's gold. I have chat groups with friends, and we just screenshot the comments that he blasts back.
Like, how do you feel about that? I'm surprised to hear that because I don't read comments really.
Yeah.
Are you surprised to hear that? Were you disappointed? Are you disappointed in him as the GOAT?
I love it because it just makes him human. Then he's a little bit. You're like, okay, dude, like you're epic at this thing, but also, wow, you're really just a human too. At the end of the day. So
like, was he getting pissed off with people?
Yeah. Oh, with and these are accounts with like, you know, they're even fake accounts or accounts with like 100 people on them or 100 followers. It's like they're trolls by definition, totally trolls.
Yeah, you're not a troll though, are you?
Maybe I should be.
Like, I know you're from Southern California and you're very in tune with like the surf scene down there. Didn't you get involved in a bit of a comment altercation with former pro surfer? I'm having a like Brett Simpson. Did you really?
Oh, dude. Yeah. No, not an altercation. No. I gave him a little bit of grief because he's like, he's from this pretty conservative neighborhood, and I always had a sneaking suspicion that he was a MAGA guy, and in fact he was. And I wrote a little like clickbaity thing on there. I sent him a message, it was like, and he totally took the bait and fired back at me. I got like 4 messages at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning from his time zone.
Yeah, I guess I just get a little bit surprised when like celebrities or even minor celebrities engage in those kind of comments and those conversations. Yeah. But I guess like you said, they're human too. So yeah, anyway. So listen, let's just go on. I want to go back to, so you just catching up, like you traveled through South America and then you decided to move to Bali. Around like what age did you decide to move to Bali? Like,
Oh, sorry, can you say around what age?
yeah, like when was that decision made and why was that decision made?
To move over here to Bali was done when I was offered the job from grade school. So then I moved. That would have been just over 3 years ago, about 3.5 years.
Okay.
And right now I'm sitting on the longest time span I've been on Bali without leaving. It's been just over a year now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, do you feel like it was one of the better decisions you've made in your life?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're bit by the bug, and you are as well. So we got that little bit of like, yeah, that little bit of excitement in our lives from this place that we know there's like so much potential and so many of our kind of like drives, so many of our itches are scratched here. So it's nice. Yeah, it's definitely in our blood.
What do you think the draw card is to Bali for so many people? Why has it got this? Why do you feel like people will just want to be there, including Kelly Slater, for example, who middle of a pandemic somehow got his way in there and just stayed there? And obviously for surfers, but what do you think is the attraction?
The people are coming here to find themselves. That's such a thing too. It's still totally the main thing. I think for the most part, you have a lot of people that are lost and are looking for some kind of purpose and or meaning, and they come here for that. The vast majority, to some degree or another. I do think. What's that?
Is that what you did?
No, because I came here for the surf. I came here for the surf, 100%. But that's not to be said that there's not like a lot of growth and good things coming out of it and stuff to work on and all that. Yeah, that's great here. There's a big community of that. But I think the majority of people are really just this like hyper charged up in search of something that they don't have in their lives. And it's a bit exhausting being here and being around it. You know that too.
Like eat, pray, love?
You like eat, pray. My mom watched it and she's like, oh my God, sweetie, I'm going to come over there. Where should I? She's never been here, man. She sent me a message the other day after watching Eat, Pray, Love, and she asked where she should start looking to buy property. And then she sent me a link to a place in Kuta Lombok, and she's like, what did she say? She said they're selling them really quickly. There's not many left. What do you think?
Who told her that? The real estate agent?
So my mom is one of these people, man. She's also one of these people.
Okay, interesting. I mean, Julia Roberts was good in that movie. I mean, like I wish I was like there looking for eat, praying, and loving or something. But
yeah,
listen,
not to knock it though. It's a great thing too. Like it's for the. I guess it takes work though with these kinds of things. It's like you got to put some effort into it. And I think a lot of people are just kind of bumming around. They come over here with they're cashed up from their families, and they kind of just float around and party, and they don't like. I don't think there's really that many positive things coming out of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you got a job offer at an international private school in Bali, and that was the draw card for you. And then since then, like you've been in Bali for the last 3.5 years, living and working full time. How would you like? From my understanding, you're on the cusp of leaving now, going back to California, correct?
Yeah, I'll go back for a job for a little bit, get it set up, and then it seems like most things are remote these days now, especially in education or also in education. So then I'll come back over here because I still have my kita, so I can come back and forth.
Okay, but let's I'm going to hit you sort of deep here. Like, How would you reflect on the last 3.5 years of making such a vast, life-changing decision? How would you now, as a whole, look at that experience?
In what way? Like, is it positive or negative? Like in a judgmental way, or like what is?
Yeah, like what's your initial reaction to that decision? You made a big decision. You moved your whole life to another country. Now it's coming to an end.
Yeah.
What are the sentiments that you have?
Well, yeah. I guess it was like when I look back, I see that time, and it wasn't a bad time, but I was sort of sedated. It was kind of like I was in a little like, although things were nice, I could still ride my bicycle to the beach and go for a surf with friends, and I could go on little surf trips every once in a while down to Mexico. The overall life there and teaching and being there was kind of like it was it was just kind of sedated. I can't think of it any other way. Time just kind of like flew by. It was like time was deleted from my life, and there's no substantial bookends to anything that happened. Like the experiences there were not. Whereas here, there's experiences happening every week, every weekend, whenever, wherever you're traveling to all these beautiful locations and meeting people, and crazy cool things are happening all the time. Whereas back there, that doesn't really happen. So if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. But how do you think you've grown as a person?
Yeah, that's a good question. How have I? I know what I want, and I know what I don't want, and that's pretty big for sure. So I think that's.
What do you want?
I want this. I definitely want to. I want to have this in my life always. The ability to just go and to be in a place where I have all the opportunities in front of me, and I can also say no, and I can chill too. But I don't want to. Yeah, I want the excitement factor in my life. It's got to be a part of it. If we only have one shot at this thing, then I want to have a lot of fun. So there's a lot more fun happening here.
Fun? Okay. But what about when your body breaks down and you can't surf like you surf now?
Yeah, like what will I do?
Yeah. Will Bali still have the same?
I'm learning how to spearfish. I love freediving right now, so I'll just do tons of that.
Just free dive for the rest of your life.
And then when I can't do that anymore, I don't know. I'm not sure. So what you mean, like what would I, the obsession or the thing I have about like excitement and having fun now, once my body's all worn out and beat up, then what?
Yeah, man. Are you equipped to maybe settle into a suburban lifestyle with 2.5 kids?
Maybe, I don't know. I do look at some families here, and guys like Jake and these other people that have a family and they do this whole thing. And it's they're able to do it in Bali as well, and they seem to still have that excitement factor in their lives. No one's got it all, but I do. I would hope that I could do something along those lines too. I would like to have that. I'd like to have a family at some point, and I'd like to be able to be here still too.
You could see yourself raising a family in Bali as an expat?
I would think definitely part-time. I wouldn't go full-time year-round all the time, but I think a part of it for sure. In an ideal situation between here and where my family is back in the States, in California.
So you'd like to keep 1 foot in the Western world and 1 foot in, I guess, the Southeast Asian culture?
Yeah, order and chaos, one in each.
Where did you hear that philosophy? Were we talking about that before?
Yeah, it's a Jordan Peterson quote. He's like a philosopher, clinical psychologist out of Canada. Interesting dude. Yeah, he put it really well, and he actually compared surfing with it as well. Like the order and chaos is all summarized in the act of surfing too, which is kind of interesting because he has nothing to do with surfing. But 1 foot in order and 1 foot in chaos is kind of where growth is happening, but there's enough stability where you're able to manage your anxieties and these things too.
Yeah, that's really good quote. Hey, when I actually heard that, I was like, wow, yeah, that's what I need, because otherwise I get very dissatisfied and restless very quickly. Is that how you feel?
Sorry, say it again.
Without order, without like this balance of order and chaos.
Yeah. I think without having that, I'm kind of like, exactly, like you're either sedated or you're in chaos all the time. Like if you're here in Bali for a bit too long, in which case you just you have anxiety and these kinds of things. I mean, it's inevitable. I'd find it hard to believe as a Western that lives here full time and never goes back to the Western world that you're not riddled with something like anxiety or one of these things that you have to constantly cope with and manage. Because you do see these people that have just been here too long and they have a distinct look to them, and we always just say like they've Jade and I used to say this, it's like they've lost touch is what we would say.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so obvious, and I could see it even would happen with myself. If I never went back to the Western world where I grew up, 100% I would lose touch at some point for sure. All the conspiracy theories come at you all the time, and all the chaos of this place. You just lose it at some point.
But personally, like I can see, like I feel like it even happened to me a little bit after 2 years. When I came back, it was such a shock to the system. I really craved the chaos of, I guess, effectively what is. I guess it's a third. It is a little. It's third. It's still third world, correct? But I was, I realized like I was losing touch with that a little bit of reality. I feel like when you're living as an expat in a country like that, it just doesn't seem real. And that was the biggest take home message for me. And I guess like I see a lot of stray souls around. Do you feel like Bali is the place for stray souls to go?
Yeah, but it's also a place for like really just rad humans to go to and do their thing. So yeah, there's definitely some of that around here for sure. I don't seem to notice it too much. We have a nice little crew of homies here, and people doing interesting things, which is, it's like, it sounds trite to say it, but it's like pretty inspiring being here. So.
No, it is. I feel like it's a creative hub as well, which is really nice. It brings a lot of creative types together, right? Yes. What's that? Antibiotics.
It's my final dose of antibiotics, and they're so strong I can smell them in my skin, like from my pores. Wow. This is the final dose right here.
Wow, man. Can you tell us why you have to take antibiotics at the moment? After you swig it down, is that a Red Bull you're washing that down with? Oh my God, yeah. Lance!
You got to stay up for the cast. And committed, Sean.
So let's get into that. So why are you taking?
Yeah, I just had a big scare. A couple of days ago I went in and it was like I had gone for typical me. I had just healed up. The doctor just clipped the stitches out of my shoulder and out of my leg, and she's like, "Yeah, take it easy for another couple days." And so I went for a surf that night, and I thought I would have an easy surf, and I popped the stitches on my shoulder, and some water got in the cut on my leg, and they're both infected. However, one of the infections was close to the bone, and I just had a big scare. So I got on some heavy antibiotics, and the doctor said don't mess with it anymore. So I've been out of the water now for a couple weeks. I'm just trying to take it easy and chill. I'm not very good at this though, but I'm trying my best.
So what happened? Like, tell us about the injuries. Like, what happened? Did you hurt your? I know you had a skin cancer cut out of your back, correct?
Yeah, it was like a tag that was the doctor was concerned about from like a year or two ago. So I just had it done because I was already cut up. So I cut my leg in Nias with a fin. It was like a chipped fin. And if you ever have a fin that's slightly chipped, you definitely want to sand the shit out of it. Don't ever use. It was like a serrated blade. It just sliced down to the bone, and there was like fat tissue and stuff coming out of my leg. And at the time, there was no hospital clinics open, so I had to go to the back of some guy's house, and it was really dirty. And like he did his best to clean it out, and he had a suture kit, but for sure now I realize he didn't have the internal stitches, so he just gave me external. And it was so deep, there was like a lot of dead space, and there were clots that had to be reopened again later on. It's been this ongoing thing, and it's infected again, but it looks good. I went in and had it checked out today. I'm going to be okay.
So what like how'd you actually have the injury? Are you just on a wave, or you put into a barrel and your fin hit you?
Exactly. And the board just really quickly flipped over and tagged me for a sec, and that was all it took. It just sliced right down to the bone. It was like really hot. It just felt really hot. I could tell something was weird. I stuck my finger right into it, and I'm like, oh, all right, it's deep. Got out and wrapped it up in a T-shirt, and just some guy put me on a scooter and zipped me off to his friend's house.
Wow, man. And so how long ago was that?
And I was all by myself up there at the time. So I'd gone up. There was a couple of friends that were staying nearby, but I was solo at the time. And I thought I was going to just duct tape it and surf the next day because the waves were pumping. It was like just as good as it gets for like 2 weeks straight there. It was nonstop, man. And I got up that night to take a piss, and I couldn't even stand up. I was like almost in tears. I had my leg up against the wall. I was peeing.
No.
Yeah, dude, it was bad. It was bad. So yeah, that was that. Got out of there about a couple days later, and yeah, man.
That's pretty bad. So like you didn't get it actually, like that happened a few weeks ago and it still hasn't healed, correct?
The new infection happened about a week ago, but it's on its way. It's hardly infected anymore. It's almost sealed up too. So I'm just about there.
Yeah. I guess with the tropics as well, like the bacteria over there is so much more gnarly, right?
Yeah, the bacteria is terrible here. You go for a surf in Canggu, and it's like the water is horrible, man. So I don't think I'll get in the water again before California. I'm headed back for the first time in a year and a half, or just over a year in about a week. So that's cool.
How do you deal with injury when you're injured? Like, do you deal with it well, or what do you do?
How do you mean?
Well, when you're injured and you can't do anything, like, how do you personally deal with it? Do you get depressed, or do you, use the time to go deep within yourself, or meditate, or what do you do?
I'm trying to use that that insight timer thing and just do a little bit of like breath work stuff at the moment. It's really helpful. I'm just like doing these little like meditation courses. Just honestly, just because I have nothing, I have nothing else to do, anyways. I read a book, which is nice too. It's just, I don't know. There's little things like that. You just take up a challenge of doing something different, right? But inevitably, I go kind of stir crazy because I can't exercise either at the moment. So yeah, I kind of battle with myself a little bit on that, but just try to force myself to relax. And that the breathing stuff is really helping quite a lot. So that's nice.
Can you maybe go into the breathing stuff? Like, is it box breathing? Is it Wim Hof breathing? Like, what do you?
It's not even that intense. So it's literally just like to a timer with a gong, and it's like you can set it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I try to do it once in the morning, once in the evening, even if it's just for like 10 minutes. It's just totally like to clear your mind. So you're just kind of observing your thinking for a second. You slow it all down. It doesn't have to be anything hectic. Like you don't have to set an intention and all this stuff. Like your day is going to be this or that. It's just sort of like just a peaceful start to the morning rather than getting up and rolling straight into like scrolling through Insta or something like this.
Are you addicted to Instagram?
Earlier when we started this thing, I actually had my phone off to the side and I was looking at something. I caught myself just by habit. I like checked a message and I went into Insta and was like on Insta for a second.
While we were talking,
dude, I didn't even realize I was doing it. It's that bad.
That's a problem, and I could tell, like, because you were just like distracted.
You can tell, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, if Lance is fucking checking Instagram during the podcast, I'm gonna like, this is bullshit, But anyway, whatever. Like, I'm addicted to it too. But do you think like people are becoming more addicted to social media than ever, especially since what's transpired in the world?
Yeah, it seems that way for sure. I don't know. I just try to look like I don't know that I represent everybody else or that you do either necessarily, but I definitely see my attention span shortening, which is kind of the design of this stuff. I find it more difficult to read a book, to be honest, and it's really sad because I love reading. So I'm kind of like, it's sort of frustrating, yeah. But we're addicted to that little hit of dopamine we get when we're on our phones scrolling around. So that's just got to balance it out, man. So that's the challenge right now for sure.
Yeah, man. 1 foot in chaos, 1 foot in.
One foot in order, 1 foot in chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I love that, man. I really do love that philosophy on the world.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of confirmation bias on my end too, but I definitely love it as well because I always kind of felt like it'd be nice to live between two places. One being like immersed in nature or the ocean, and the other one being maybe like the calm stability of something like Australia, like the Gong or maybe Ventura.
Yeah, it's interesting, like doing the comparison because Bali is really stressful in a lot of ways. Like even just going out on your scooter to go and get some water from the shop, it can be a stressful experience at times, and the chaos that exists there. But it's funny, like being back in Australia, I really feel like I'm around a lot of very stressed out people. When all the conveniences are there for everyone. So why do you think, in your opinion, that people living in a westernized culture are generally more high strung?
Yeah, I was wondering. I was just going to ask you that too. Do you think it has something to do with like the lack of problems, so they create them? I don't know. I wonder about that too. Like, is it a lack of problems, or like it's kind of like you create these things, or you make, what's the expression for making something really big out of something that's not very big at all?
Oh, there's a few like make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, a mountain
Or
out of a molehill. I do see that. I do notice it because it happens here on a small scale sometimes too. You notice that with some of the parents from the schools we've worked out and stuff like this, they really are on like a beautiful vacation. Their kids are going to an epic school and they're not working too much, but they get really hyper focused on one small thing they don't like and they make it something huge. So I wonder if it's similar back. Although, yeah, I don't know. There's plenty of problems in the States at the moment, but in Australia, it seems like you guys have it pretty good. I wonder what upsets them so much or what they're so bothered by.
do you think it's just the human condition?
Like an adaptation, maybe we're always searching to improve, or like it's a survival skill, right? We like find the issue and then we sort it out. And if there's no problems, we don't know how to behave because we can't be like alone. Maybe.
I mean, but don't you believe like the brain and the mind is a problem solving tool?
Yeah.
And the more we identify with our mind and the more we get caught up in this monkey mind, I think that creates the stress. Do you think it's because people are actually like less conscious of themselves and are engaging more with their monkey mind, and maybe that's causing this innate desire to engage in drama?
Yeah, maybe so, huh? They're not so like differentiated in their thinking. They're a little bit more simplistic, like that the fear brain that goes back to your like reptilian brain, acting out of fear rather than like using the logic of your mind. And that requires you to be pretty focused. So maybe it is. Yeah, I would agree. Maybe people are just, in general, it's difficult to focus. And then on top of that, we have these phones with us that are making our attention span even shorter. So it's already challenging and it's becoming more and more. And then here we are, we're more more divided than ever in these places as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I guess too, like as I go live on Instagram with this right now, and it's like, it's really, I mean, there's a paradox there, isn't there? But they're just so numbing. Like they numb you out. I shit you not. There's times I'll look at my phone and I'll look up and 15 minutes is gone. Like, and I felt like it was like 5 seconds, and it's I've just lost that 15 minutes of my life, and I'm trapped in it right now. I really am, and it became predominantly worse, in my opinion, since COVID happened. And I don't want to talk about COVID like too much, but because of this forced, life of Zoom meetings and working online, I just feel like it's really perpetuated technology use. Like, would you agree?
It's crazy, yeah. I always like, I always sort of like wished for this digital nomad life. I'm like, oh, it's so good. You can work remote, but it's actually a total trap because then you're caught working from home. I mean, you're checking your email from your bed. You're taking calls downstairs where you have breakfast. So there's no sacred spaces anymore. Everything is totally fair game. You can work from anywhere and everywhere, and you're kind of expected to. Also, I actually interviewed for a position earlier in my kitchen, and it's like a formal interview. I had like a nice shirt on and stuff. It's a complete joke. I don't. It's a weird world. It's so strange, man.
Did you have pants on?
No, I had board shorts on. I'm being totally honest. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, because you could have had no pants on.
Should have had no pants on, but yeah.
And you actually should have taken your shirt off so they could see your koala tattoo.
Oh my god! Oh, it was just. Yeah. Well, could have. Easy, Shannon. Easy. Quit making fun of me, dude.
I can't help it. I just love your koala tattoo. Yeah. Now listen, bro. Like, you've had an epic year. Let's recap the year just passed. It's coming to an end. Probably not going to talk to you again. We'll talk to you again this year personally, but I want to hear about, like, from the start of this year to where you are now. Can you break it down for us? How would you describe the last 10 months?
A big old roller coaster, but it's probably like that for everyone, no?
Why? Why has it been a roller coaster?
I think because everything we thought we wanted to do, a lot of these things have been shaken up, and now we have opportunities to do them. We've been forced to leave jobs we weren't happy with, or maybe the opposite of that. You lost a job that you loved, and you're forced to kind of reflect on what matters to you and what you want going forward. So I don't know. It's been really tough, but in a lot of ways, I think it's a really good thing too. Like we were talking about earlier, it's good to know what you want, and I think we're all forced to know exactly what we want right now, and so it's shaking us up. We're where we want to be, or we're on the move to where we want to be. I don't think we have any other choice or any other option, anyways, at this point in time, right? It's all the big issues in the world have all bubbled up to the surface too, and it's quite interesting. It's time for like a big change. So,
what about when the like all the lockdowns started happening and Bali got locked down and people were sort of fleeing Bali? What did you do?
I went and scored the best waves of my entire life.
So tell me the story. What did you do? Like, did you go and get on a plane and get on a boat? What'd you do?
It actually started with a call from my buddy Mark late one evening after a couple of tins, mate. And he had gotten a text that there were.
Was that an Aussie accent?
Yeah, I'm just a sick cunt, mate.
I can't say the C-bomb on my podcast, for God's sake.
If you're Australian, you can't say it anywhere else in the world.
You can say whatever you want. You can say the C-bomb. I don't care. Okay.
So we got to,
Sorry, I'm going to cut you off one more time. When an Australian uses the C-bomb, for some reason it just seems okay. But when an American uses the C-bomb, it just feels so dirty, dude.
Yeah, because it's not like in this like cute accent anymore. It's like kind of harsh and bitter. And that's probably correct, because if you say that word at home in the United States, you get punched in the face.
Do you feel like the C-bomb's been diluted though? Like it's becoming like less offensive. Like it's getting more common.
So. I would love to use it at home. I'll try it out when I get back there next week. We'll see what happens.
Really? As you embark on a job as a professor at a university.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't just yet, huh? I'll save it for the sweet gong when I come back there one day.
We don't want you here. We don't want you here with that kind of language.
I want to come back and surf Aussie pipe.
You're not welcome down there.
Yeah, right, dude. And what Sand on Point? We got chased out of the water by a shark there, actually.
Can you say that again? Where were you surfing?
It's Sandon? Sandon? Fuck, did I have it wrong?
Listen, man. No, Sandon Point, you bogan. Now listen, man.
Yeah.
So you went surfing. Where'd you go surfing? Like mental-wise during a pandemic?
Yeah, so we got the call for a boat, went on a boat trip, and luckily just got on this trip with a bunch of legend human beings and extended it out for almost a whole month, and got back, went to Nias solo for a bit. Got just some big bombs on this giant Dylan board that I bought off the rack on sale for like $5 million. Super cheap, got it last minute, and it was like my lifeline. So yeah, it was cool. It's just like a lot of just pushing the boundaries. And now I'm like trying to learn airs. All right. And I'm laying in my bed injured. Sweet. And I just got stitches out of the back of my head for doing that also. Also sweet.
So what, you went for an air and your board hit you in the back of the head?
Yeah, somewhere like in the gurgling water, the rail of the board shot back at me, and it's one of these fire wires. Mm-hmm. So they're super dense. Any other board, it would have you cracked the rail, but instead it cracked my head open. Not that bad, actually, just a couple stitches.
So when you were surfing with Kelly Slater, did you have any sort of inclination to say to him, "Hey, Kelly, why do firewire boards go so yellow?"
Dude, I painted mine black for exactly that reason. You know the psychological effect that plays on you, too. When they go yellow, they just don't work anymore, man.
Yeah, why didn't it, and again, these are things you could have brought up with the goat when you were surfing with him.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was going to just ask him if his ex-girlfriend was free yet, or I don't know, I was kind of curious. She's a babe. But no, it didn't cross my mind. I should have. In hindsight.
philosophy.
walking past me and I totally choked. I had like a million things I wanted to say and I just didn't. I said nothing.
Did the goat break up with his long-term girlfriend? Is that public?
I imagine so, but I don't know. Who knows?
Oh, goaty. I don't want to talk.
He looks like he's having a good old midlifey, but I have no idea actually.
Well, like if a midlife crisis is going surfing, is that a bad thing? Is that a crisis or is that like a positive?
He just watched Eat, Pray, Love. He's just figuring it out, huh? He's finding himself.
Have you heard of the sequel? It's called Eat, Pray, Mushroom.
Oh, dude. Are you going to screen that at your house sometime soon? I'd love to come by.
Oh, man. No. Now, listen, man. So this may be the most challenging podcast. Like, I think, Lance, you've been on this podcast twice now. We did the Get Your Quiv Out surfboard review. We talked about the boards in our quiver. So when you went on your surf expeditions, you went to Nias recently as well and scored probably one of the waves of your life. You want to talk us through that? Like what boards were you riding? And what was the wave? What was the waves like over there?
Yeah. I like I was just saying before, I got that big deal in that 6'10", kind of went up there and just like got in the right headspace and went and surfed. Kind of like got on my own program and just loved it, man. It was good. Had a couple of friends up there to like high five each other and get pumped up and yeah, just chase some big bombs. That wave is so perfect though. It doesn't really, dude. Like I think it's you watch a 13-year-old kid just a minute ago get like the craziest wave of the whole year up there. It's really you can chip into these waves. It's a roll in. It's a total roll in, and you just got to commit.
So that one you sent me a video of you getting like possibly one of the. Would you say it's one of the best waves of your life?
It's up there not like for the scare factor as much as it was just for like the I was just like in the zone. I was feeling it, man, and I really was like I paddled out alone that session, and it was like all those things kind of came together, and that felt really good. So. Yeah, it's up there for sure.
Like, was it that? I mean, that thing looked like a proper sort of 10 to 12 foot Nias bomb.
Yeah.
And so you're out there, like talk us through it. Like, what were the like? You know, was it pulsing that big? And you seen the set come, turned, and went. Like, were you scared or
this board? These 6'10s are like, my buddy Pat and I were calling it they're like the Cadillacs. They just move like. They feel heavy and kind of smooth and cruisy, and you can get in kind of early, but they're just like you're committed, you know. So you can chip in that extra half second earlier, and it was a big thick one that came through. And just before that guy Sparrow had caught an insane one. Absolutely, just the horizon had gone black, and no one wanted it. And he turned around. Everyone was like scratching for the horizon. He turned around and spun and went on his like little 6'4" or whatever it was. And then this one came too. This one was a little more perfect. He got blown off of his board. It spit so hard. And then this one came through, and it was like, again, no one wanted it. I'm like, okay, wait. No one wants it. All right, let's do this thing. And just went for it. I didn't realize it was going to kind of go so square. That was only my second wave on that board. I didn't realize it was going to be kind of.
Well, how do you think you got to that level of confidence to turn on a wave like that? What was the build up to it?
You mean like what was? How do you mean?
Well, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of confidence in yourself to turn and go on a wave of that sort of consequence. How do you feel that you got yourself to that level of confidence building up to that moment?
Well, definitely helped going on like a men's trip and traveling around Indo and scoring good waves. So that tuned me in for sure. And then to be honest, dude, there's like this funny little trick I kind of learned with freediving stuff too. It's not even freediving, but paddling out and kind of in heavier surf, if you're you have a tightness of your chest, whether you realize it or not, to the degree where like, at least I noticed for myself, if I were to fall on a really small wave or take an easy fall, I would be choked for air within a couple seconds just because your heart's probably pounding and you're tensed up. So I would kind of just paddle out the back of the surf and do two like little free dives and just see how long I could hold my breath for. And literally it would just like zen me out for the rest of the surf. Not that you're untouchable after, but that you're just chilled. You're way more in control. So that's like something I kind of, it's a nice crossover from freediving.
So you actually consciously took the time to calm your central nervous system down physiologically?
Yeah, just like a quick 2 minutes or something like that. And I'm not like a sick freediver or anything at all. It's just something I learned from like a little course I did in that stuff. So
Cool. So you just went down, held your breath underwater for a while, and came back up, and then ready to catch the waves.
Just lap that twice through, and it just like it's enough to just keep your headspace right. And then you have some good tracks, right? You had some good tunes going or whatever in your head, and you're just feeling it. That was it, man.
Oh, really? So like you'll think of like some music that you like as well, and have that going in your head.
Exactly. Yeah.
What song?
It was pretty chilled music. It was actually that artist Bonobo. Really good, but like pretty like ethereal. I don't know how you describe their music. It's pretty like kind of this eclectic, just feel good, but like chilled. The wavelength of the music is very like mild and mellow. So that was the feeling. All of that.
It's so amazing how like the frequency of music can change like your personal frequency, because it does affect it. Like I know it sounds cliche, but it's so true.
It sounds so cliche, but it's so true, man. Yeah.
I guess that's why a lot of athletes are always psyching up with headphones in before an event and stuff like that. And I'm actually surprised like they haven't actually introduced the waterproof headphones in surfing, where there's something that sticks to your ear so you can surf with music on.
Dude,
I'm sure that's
a long time ago. I actually remember wearing a pair of them in the water with a waterproof like iPod thing or whatever it was at the time. And I remember doing it in the surf, but you can't though. It doesn't work. It's like it's too. You want to hear the ocean and you want to like be aware of what's going on around you. It's too.
Yeah, and that was my next thing. Like I think that's the whole part of it. You want to be connected to the ocean and all the sounds and everything. Like I mean, I have to surf with earplugs because I've got bad ears, and I mean that dumbs down those sounds. Like I remember once like I caught a barrel. I got a barrel once with earplugs in, and for the first barrel I got, with earplugs in, I remember just like I didn't enjoy the experience because I couldn't hear the sounds that you get when you're in the barrel. That sort of hollow sound and the spitting. Hey, you just put a light on you?
No,
you seem like because I can see you better now. I think maybe you should like shine a torch on your tattoo on your chest and show everyone your koala. Go, where is that? There it is. There it is. Head up. Go. Keep going. Show us again. Go closer. I can't see it. There it is. Dude, I love you, man. You Seppo. I'm just kidding. I hate that term.
Full Seppo.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Yeah, so I guess it dumbs down those sounds. Like, I mean, it's a whole experience. Like, and sound of water has some sort of calming effect on you, or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this. We're in the water we definitely want to be like nature is definitely a part of it, right? That's the whole wave pool thing. Why it's like not that interesting. It removes the component of nature totally. I think that's why it's not.
Yeah. Listen, man. It's been epic. Like it's been like almost an hour, and just love catching up with you, man. You're just good people, and I'm really like impressed by just how you've been doing life. So, what's next for you in terms of the next step for Lance? Like, you've been living and working in Bali, working at the Green School as an educator. Like, what's your next move and why?
I want to try to get into working at the university level with some teachers just to affect kind of more kids in the big picture of things. I really think that going forward in education on that, if I wear that hat for a minute in education, it's these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are kind of like where the world is going and what kids in education want and what teachers should be teaching more of. And that's basically encompassing sustainability, but also in terms of social justice as well too. So these things all wrapped into one is something I'd like to be a part of, helping to kind of like spread. That's something I've dabbled my feet in here, and I want to kind of share that with up and coming teachers and hopefully be a part of exposing some teachers to the international education platform here by bringing teachers over. That's just kind of like some goals I've got for myself coming up, and just some things I kind of believe in wholeheartedly if I'm wearing that hat for a moment anyways.
Yeah, like will you be part of like building the curriculum around those themes of sustainability and social justice?
Yeah, in an ideal world, I would love to just continue using those UN goals and kind of getting involved with that as part of the teacher training program I'm starting to work with at that university level now.
Cool, man. That's so cool that you've actually become affiliated with that. And will you be working in conjunction with the Green School to bring those kind of educators to the Green School? Or?
That's the plan, yeah.
Cool, man. It's lovely, man. It's so good. Well, listen, man, I ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause that they want to support or advocate for. So do you have a particular cause you want to support today?
Yeah, I think Solman here on the ground in Bali are doing a really nice job of Solman, that's Solemen, and they're doing a really nice outreach for special needs kids and families that are impoverished or especially impacted at the moment here on Bali, and they're bringing them clothes and food donations, and they've been here for quite a long time, and they're great, and your donations go immediately to helping families just here in need, so that's a pretty important thing at the moment.
So Soul, man. Okay, and I'll put a link to that in Lance's show notes. Yeah, I'll put a link to it in your show notes, and you can find Lance's episode on terriblehappytalks.com. There's also links to all the platforms that you can find this podcast, such as Apple Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn Radio, I think, as well. So get on it and, find the platform that works best for your device. And also support the cause that Lance is advocating for, because we think we're doing it tough in our countries, but it's really a different type of tough in more third world economies and countries. So actually, not that Indonesia is a third world economy either. There is a disparity, there's a very vast disparity between rich and poor, and that's the big difference. There's no middle class. So, yeah, man, good cause, bro. So, listen, I've got a present for you, and it's going to get go checked to you from our friends at Indosol. So, you've got a pair of flip-flops or slides coming so you can cruise around on your scooter with your fresh shoes, because I know it's been super hot over there. So thanks for being on the show, and a huge thanks to Indosol for their constant and ongoing support of Terrible Happy Talks. And I got the Terrible Happy Talks sticker for you, which I'll also get sent out to you, even though you've already got a bunch of them for being on the show and just being
on my laptop right now.
Dude, listen, man, it's been a pain in the ass talking to you tonight, but I love it. Like, you're in a dark room, I can't see you. You seem like you're like tripping out on antibiotics or something. I don't know.
Probably, yeah, like coming out of my pores. That's true.
I'm just kidding, man. But no, it's really good, bro. Love you heaps, man, and I miss you. And is there anything you want to end on? Something profound before I fade you out with the fade out music?
1 foot in order, 1 foot in chaos, dog.